Whoa, $20? What do I have to do? Dear Tim and Moby, who was Andrew Jackson? From Brittany. Andrew Jackson was the 7th President of the United States. He served from 1829 to 1837 and was one of the most influential U.S. presidents of the 19th century. Well, unlike the first 6 presidents, Jackson came from humble beginnings. He was born in 1767 in an unsettled area of the Carolinas. His parents were poor farmers, and he had a typical frontier childhood filled with hunting, fishing, and the occasional class at a one-room schoolhouse. But tragically, his entire family, his father, his mother, and 2 brothers, died by the time Andrew was 14. Yeah, it's amazing he overcame a background like that. As a young man, Jackson began a successful law practice in Nashville, Tennessee, and married the daughter of a prominent local family. He eventually became a judge and bought a cotton plantation called the Hermitage. Yeah, he did own slaves, about 150 of them by the time he died. He also developed a reputation for a bad temper, and he fought in duels of honor throughout his adulthood. His reputation hurt his early political ambitions, but it came in handy when the War of 1812 broke out with England. Jackson was commissioned as a major general in the U.S. Army. In the Battle of New Orleans, he led outnumbered American forces to a surprise victory over the British. For his toughness, Jackson earned the nickname Old Hickory. Well, as wood goes, hickory's pretty strong. Anyway, he became a national hero, and in 1824, he ran for president. He won 41% of the vote, more than any of the other candidates. But without a majority of at least 51%, Congress had to pick a winner. In a backroom deal, they chose John Quincy Adams. Yeah, it wasn't really fair. Washington insiders didn't want someone as uneducated, violent, and, well, low class as Jackson to be president. But in the next election, Jackson used that image to his own advantage. He campaigned as a populist, representing the common man against the rich and powerful. Joining with old political rivals, he formed the modern Democratic Party. When he won the election, Jackson invited the public to come celebrate. Thousands flooded the White House for his inauguration party, which, got a little out of hand. Well, he thought government should be more responsive to the people. Before his administration, many federal jobs were held for life by the well-connected. Jackson replaced as many of these people as he could with new blood. Critics claimed he'd created a spoils system, rewarding political allies with jobs they didn't deserve. But Jackson continued his populist reforms, focusing next on the Second Bank of the United States. Created in 1816, it was the federal government's official bank. He spoke out for its destruction, arguing that it had become corrupt and far too powerful. Americans approved of these policies and re-elected Jackson in 1832. In his second term, he destroyed the Second Bank by withdrawing all government money from it. Yeah, Jackson's grab for power made him a lot of enemies. He was even known as King Andrew among his critics, and his actions during the nullification crisis strengthened this view. In 1832, the state of South Carolina refused to collect a federal tariff or tax on goods imported from Europe. In Jackson's view, states couldn't pick and choose which federal laws they wanted to enforce. Well, after he threatened to send in the army, South Carolina compromised by agreeing to a lower tariff. Most people today would agree with Jackson, but back then, many thought he was overstepping his power. The crisis turned out to be a major defeat for Southern slaveholders. But it's not like Jackson was turning into a big supporter of civil rights. He actually tried, unsuccessfully, to outlaw all anti-slavery literature. He also signed the Indian Removal Act, authorizing the government to negotiate land treaties with American Indian tribes. In practice, negotiating had nothing to do with it. Tribal leaders were pretty much forced into signing unfair treaties. You're right, Jackson was complicated, with both good and bad qualities. In the end, he increased the power of the presidency, while at the same time making it more responsive to the public. After his second term ended in 1837, Jackson retired to the Hermitage. He remained immensely popular, serving as an informal advisor to future presidents until he died in 1845. Now, can I have my $20? Moby,